In the suffocating jungle of Vietnam, a single mountain became a meat grinder. This is the story of Hamburger Hill. Red mud clings to everything, thick and slick like fresh paint. A young soldier's knuckles are white as he grips the splintered stock of his rifle. Rain plasters a strand of dark hair to his forehead and he blinks it away, his eyes fixed on the churned earth just ahead. Explosions throw fountains of dirt and smoke into the gray sky, the concussions felt deep in the chest. Another man, his face a mask of grime and exhaustion, crawls past, dragging a radio handset on a frayed green cord. Muzzle flashes wink from a dark tree line 100 yards away, an unseen enemy pouring fire down the slope. This is Hill 937. This is Operation Apache Snow. But this is just one moment, on one hill, in a valley that has been bleeding for years. We pull back, high into the oppressive, humid air of 1966. Below us lies the A Shau Valley, a deep 30-mile gash in the earth of South Vietnam. It hugs the border of Laos, a verdant, almost beautiful scar in the landscape. Triple canopy jungle forms a dense green ceiling, hiding the ground from the sky. Jagged, mist-shrouded peaks claw at the low-hanging clouds. From this height it looks serene, a forgotten corner of the world. But this valley is a vital organ in the North Vietnamese war machine. It is a primary artery for the Ho Chi Minh Trail, a secret highway funneling soldiers, weapons, and supplies from the north. To control this valley is to choke the insurgency in the south. To lose it is to give the enemy a hidden fortress, a staging ground for attacks across the country. Our focus narrows to a small, isolated outpost, a lonely island of red earth and sandbags in a sea of green. This is the A Shau Special Forces camp in early 1966. A handful of American Green Berets and South Vietnamese irregulars stand watch. The air is tense, the jungle unnaturally quiet. A soldier scans the perimeter through binoculars, the sweat on his brow magnifying the sun's glare. He sees nothing but a wall of impenetrable vegetation. But the enemy is there, moving silently through the undergrowth, thousands of North Vietnamese soldiers encircling the camp. The attack comes with the dawn, a wave of mortar rounds crashing into the flimsy bunkers. Splintered wood and sandbags fly through the air. Green tracers cut paths through the morning mist. The defenders are vastly outnumbered, their desperate radio calls for air support swallowed by the storm of steel. A medic presses a field dressing against a wound, his hands stained dark red. For 2 days, the camp holds on, a tiny spark of defiance against an overwhelming force. But the perimeter shrinks, the casualties mount, and the last helicopter lifts off under a hail of machine gun fire, leaving the burning camp and the valley itself in the hands of the North Vietnamese army. For the next 3 years, the A Shau will be their undisputed territory. The years tick by, a montage of shadows and whispers. American long-range reconnaissance patrols slip into the valley's edges, ghostly figures in tiger-striped camouflage. They move through the perpetual twilight under the canopy, their M16s held at the ready. A single snapped twig echoes like a gunshot. A rustle in the leaves freezes them in place, fingers tightening on triggers. They find what they fear: heavily fortified bunkers, truck parks hidden under camouflage netting, and trails wide enough to drive a tank down. The valley is not just a trail, it is a massive logistical base, a hornet's nest. The American High Command decides the nest must be cleared. A new phase begins, a series of punishing operations designed to sweep the valley. The camera pans across a massive firebase being carved out of a hilltop. CH-47 Chinook helicopters, their twin rotors beating the air, sling-load heavy artillery pieces into place. Bulldozers tear at the red earth, creating defensive berms. Lines of soldiers, their faces young and grim, disembark from Huey helicopters, their boots sinking into the soft mud. The air is thick with the smell of diesel and churned-up soil. These operations all have names: Delaware, Somerset Plain, but they share a brutal rhythm. The push into the valley floor begins. A line of infantrymen moves cautiously through thigh-high elephant grass, its edges sharp as razors. Leeches cling to their ankles and the oppressive humidity saps their strength. The ground is a treacherous enemy. Boots are sucked into mud pits, and every step is a struggle against the grasping jungle. Sunlight barely pierces the dense canopy above, casting the world in a gloomy, green-filtered light. A point man holds up a fist, signaling a halt. His eyes are wide, fixed on a thin wire stretched taut across the path at ankle height. A booby trap. Sweat drips from his chin as another soldier, his hands impossibly steady, kneels to disarm it. Contact is sudden and violent. A single shot rings out, then a dozen, then 100. The jungle erupts in a cacophony of automatic weapons fire. Soldiers dive for cover behind massive, buttressed trees, their bark scarred by previous battles. A machine gunner lays down suppressing fire, hot brass casings spinning into the leaf litter. An officer screams coordinates into a radio handset, his voice strained. Overhead, the sky screams back as fighter jets roll in, dropping canisters of napalm that blossom into roaring flowers of orange flame. The trees ignite, and the very air seems to catch fire. The fighting is close, intimate, and horrifyingly chaotic. For days, the battles rage, a bloody struggle for every clearing, every trail junction. And then, as quickly as they arrived, the American forces withdraw. They leave behind a landscape of splintered trees and shell craters. The jungle is silent for a time, before the North Vietnamese soldiers emerge from their deep tunnels and bunkers to reclaim their territory. The valley endures. Now we arrive in May 1969. A new, massive offensive is launched, Operation Apache Snow. The objective is a mountain-designated Hill 937. It commands a view of the entire northern A Shau, a strategic prize of immense value. The men of the 101st Airborne Division are tasked with taking it. As they begin their ascent, they have no idea the hill will soon earn a new, infamous name from the soldiers who fight and die on its slopes: Hamburger Hill. The first assault looks like a scene from a forgotten history. Lines of men begin the long climb up the steep, jungle-choked incline. The hill is quiet, deceptively peaceful. Then the NVA, dug into an elaborate system of interlocking bunkers and trenches, opens fire. The hillside turns into a meat grinder. Entire platoons are pinned down by a curtain of machine gun and rocket-propelled grenade fire. Soldiers press themselves flat against the earth, the ground around them erupting in small geysers of dirt. A medic crawls from one wounded man to another, a small red cross on his helmet, the only color in a world of green and brown. Day after day, the pattern repeats. A ferocious artillery barrage pounds the summit, shaking the very roots of the mountain. The ground trembles and smoke so thick it blots out the sun, blankets the peak. Then the infantry assault begins again. They push forward yard by painful yard through a landscape that has become a nightmare. Trees are stripped of their leaves, their trunks blackened and splintered. The ground is a morass of mud and shell craters. The fighting is relentless. A young trooper fires his M16 until the barrel glows, then scrambles for a fresh magazine, his hands shaking. A squad leader, his face streaked with mud and blood, rallies his men for another push into the storm of lead. The rain comes, a torrential monsoon that turns the hill into a river of mud. It soaks the soldiers to the bone, making the steep slopes nearly impossible to climb. Wounded men are slid down the hill on ponchos, a grim procession through the muck. The living huddle in hastily dug foxholes, shivering, eating cold rations from a can, their eyes staring into the dripping darkness. The casualties are staggering. The 1,000-yard stare becomes a common sight, the look of men who have seen too much, endured too much. The determination on their faces is etched in lines of pure exhaustion and grit. After 10 days and 11 bloody assaults, the final push is made. A combined force assaults the hill from multiple directions, supported by a devastating aerial bombardment. We see it from a soldier's perspective, running low, stumbling through the cratered landscape, the roar of jets overhead. He scrambles over the lip of an enemy bunker, its occupants silenced. He reaches the summit and falls to his knees, gasping for air. All around him, other soldiers are doing the same. The firing slowly subsides, replaced by an eerie silence broken only by the cries of the wounded and the whisper of the wind through the shattered trees. They have taken the hill. The view from the top is one of utter devastation. The lush green jungle has been replaced by a barren, pockmarked moonscape. The victory is hard-won, a testament to incredible bravery, but the aftermath is bitter. Just a few weeks after taking Hamburger Hill at such a horrific cost, the American forces are ordered to abandon it. The strategic logic is that it is a fixed position, too difficult to resupply, a magnet for the enemy. For the soldiers who fought for every inch of that ground, the decision is incomprehensible. A soldier looks back at the now empty summit, his face a mixture of anger and sorrow. The NVA will simply walk back in. The valley once again will be theirs. The camera pulls back, time accelerating. We see the last American fire bases in the A Shau Valley in 1971. The activity is one of departure, not reinforcement. Men are packing up equipment, loading it onto helicopters. Tents are struck, sandbags emptied. A lone soldier takes a final look around a silent, empty bunker, the place he called home for months. Then he turns and walks toward the waiting Huey, its rotors already spinning. The helicopters lift off, one by one, their shadows passing over the green, unforgiving landscape. They leave behind empty bases, soon to be swallowed by the jungle. The long, bloody struggle for the A Shau Valley is over, not with a decisive victory, but with a quiet, weary departure. The valley was assaulted, bombed, and fought over for 5 brutal years. It cost thousands of lives, but it was never permanently controlled. It remains a silent, green monument to the Vietnam War itself, a place of unimaginable courage and sacrifice, for a prize that could never truly be held. Tell me your favorite war story I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.